Ever since Surface Duo came out, I think a lot of us have wanted a proper desktop mode, something like Continuum, something like Samsung DeX, and it's just not been something that we have gotten. Today, though, I think I might have something really, really cool to show you guys. Somebody reached out to me on Twitter just a couple days ago, and they showed me something that was working after the 12L update. They plugged in their Duo into a dock, mouse, keyboard, monitor, and suddenly they were taken to the Microsoft RDP app, the Remote Desktop Program for Windows. Now you have to have, I believe, the Pro license on Windows to be able to use this. The weird thing about this was that it loaded up on their monitor and their Duo remained untouched, totally usable, as if nothing was going on. So the Duo was running that RDP app on the monitor with the mouse and keyboard working there, but the phone was still totally usable. No one else could seem to replicate this. People are plugging in their phones and doing all kinds of stuff. I figured out how it works, and I'm about to show you guys. Spoiler alert, it's really cool. So the first thing I have to show you is this. Let's go into our developer options and scroll all the way down to the bottom and look at these options here, right? Force desktop mode is the biggest one here. These other ones, freeform windows and resizable activities, you can ignore those. Force desktop mode, like I said, is the important one. So we're going to plug ourselves into this dock here, which is running an HDMI cable into a capture card on my computer so that I can capture this properly. Let's plug it in, and what's going to happen is by default, stock, you are just going to get this, which is a simple mirroring of the screen. So you can see here's this, and here's the screen being mirrored. Nothing special, nothing particularly interesting going on here at all. However, if you are to unplug your Duo from your computer and you are to go back to that setting and you are to turn on Force Desktop Mode and then plug it back in again, well, something very, very interesting is about to happen. Rather than just mirroring the screen, you get this. And I have a mouse and keyboard plugged into that dock as well. You can see my cursor moving around. But to make matters even stranger, my Duo is, just like in that person's video, is totally usable. Nothing is going on my Duo. My mouse and keyboard is not affecting my Surface Duo. It is affecting, however, this. And you may notice there's a weird black bar down here. There's this line. The keys don't do anything. Nothing happens. But you can probably see the Remote Desktop Program icon down here in the corner. So let's click on that. And there we are, running in full screen. I've not actually ever used this before, so I'm going to set it up really quickly. Having to do this differently because trying to capture this on the same computer that I'm running this through a capture card on, well, it's not working. But now what we're looking at here is this strange desktop thing. We're back here again, and I'm going to click on this RDP app down here in the corner. I'm going to scroll back up to the top here, and I'm going to click on my desktop, and theoretically, I'm about to be seeing my computer, and boom, there is my computer. I'm able to mouse around and do whatever I want. This is my computer. This is just as I left it in there a moment ago. There is my downward facing camera. I'm controlling all this stuff, and this is all happening on my Surface Duo 2, which, like I showed you a moment ago, is still totally usable as if nothing is going on. When I bring the mouse down to the bottom, I get this weird pop-up thing that I don't really know what to make of that. I'm not sure what that is. This stuff seems like it is something that is like not finished yet, but I would say that it's still actually totally usable. One problem is hitting the Windows button actually appears to have triggered Google Assistant on my phone, which I can see it doing over off camera. You actually are going to have to physically click on that. So there's a few things that aren't quite ready for prime time yet. But could you potentially use this as a desktop replacement? I think possibly, but there are some big caveats here, right? So obviously the biggest thing I'm doing right now is I'm just remoting into a computer that already exists. So that doesn't really help me a ton. I guess if I have my computer at home and I've got another setup somewhere else with a mouse and a keyboard and all that stuff, I can plug it in and access that computer remotely in a really nice way, or vice versa. Maybe it's a work computer and you're accessing it from home. Either way, that's still a cool feature. It's not a DeX killer though at that point, right? Microsoft also has their cloud PCs though, and I believe you access the cloud PCs through that same application. I'm 99% sure of that. If you go to their website here, talking about their cloud PCs, it tells you to install the application that I'm using, and then apparently the Azure Active Directory credentials are used, and apparently that's where you can use your cloud PC stuff. That would be something a bit different. Now you're actually remoting into a full Windows desktop, cloud PC setup, of course, but into a full Windows desktop. You have to pay for that, though. That's not something they're going to give you for free. So in that regard, also probably not a DeX killer. It would be cool to have something like a normal Android desktop, but what they're doing here is they're saying, Who cares about an Android desktop? We're going to give you your desktop or a cloud PC desktop, and that's what we're going to do instead of something like DeX. I think there's a lot to think about here, a lot to talk about here. Let's get into it in the comments down below. Really, really cool stuff. Thanks to the person on Twitter who actually reached out to me and sent me some of this stuff and kind of got me on this path. They didn't want their stuff shared, so I'm obliging them in that regard. But you know who you are. Thank you for helping me kind of down this road a little bit. If you are new here, don't forget to subscribe because I've always got cool stuff like this on the channel. I'll see you on the next one. And until next time, stay nerdy, my friend.